All right, Amy, you just passed the PMP. How do you feel?
I am elated, Scott. I still am just in awe. I cannot believe it's done. All of my hard work finally paid off, and especially thanks to you and your coaches.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So everybody got a little story. What's your PMP story? What's the
So my
journey?
I didn't need to get my PMP certification. I just kind of wanted to. I took a boot camp back in 2016, and life kind of happened. I never sat for the test. It kind of just fell off the map. And then being home with COVID, I just realized I should do something. I should really do something. And my company had a pot of money and said, if you want to take some training, so I signed up for another boot camp in March of this year. And halfway through, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I was not understanding the material. The instructor was very snippy with students who asked questions. It just completely turned me off. And that's when I started Googling, like, there's got to be an easier way. And I came across you, and you speak my language, and I was all in.
That's awesome. So what language do we speak?
The success language to get your PMP.
All
Boom.
right. I'll ask a follow-up. Like, all right, I'm on board with that. I'm actually going to write that down. But like, in all honesty, like, it's terrible that the dudette was snippy with you. That's ridiculous. That's their problem. They need to look at themselves in the mirror.
Absolutely.
And so when you got into the program and things started to click, like, what about the learning helped things make sense? Like, it may sound crazy to people, like, what helped you learn? Like,
I don't know. Sometimes you just need a different way of information presented to you in a way that you can fully understand. So I signed up, and then I bought your book, and then this
yeah,
was my Bible, had it by my bed. Just the way it's laid out, your program, it just makes a lot of sense. And then just working with, having a coach and that accountability, and then the hard questions made easy. It really made you feel like you were part of the process, and there was a reason for success. I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to let Coach David down, or Sandy down, or anyone on my calls. That was very important to me, because it is a family. You feel that connection. And when I hopped on my success call, with my team, I was like, I thought of you guys. Like, I didn't want to come back, and it would have been fine if I failed, but I didn't. So
that is
everyone
awesome.
can do it.
That is awesome. And so you mentioned Sandy, you mentioned David. Let's talk to a little bit about the accountability calls with David and your little group. Like, what was the first time you show up? What's the experience like? What'd you get from it? How did it help you?
Very overwhelming, just because there's so many people at different levels. So I think the first call, I was like, please don't call on me, like, please. And I didn't feel like I was ready to answer the questions. But the later I got into the calls, and the deeper, and closer to my time of the test, I was like, please call on me. Like, I need this, please make sure that I'm understanding and walking through this the way that, you guys are teaching me, and how PMI is going to want me to learn. So I wish I had been a little bit more confident to insert myself earlier.
Okay.
One thing I do have to say is I buddied up with a girl in my class, and her test was 4 or 5 days before mine. So we actually had two separate, offline, we just would run through practice tests together. And, it was great. And we ran it like hard questions made easy, and just, we went through it together. And I think that was also extremely important in my success.
Okay. That is awesome. And so, like, as she passed, my assumption is
She did. So she passed on a Friday, and I didn't hear from her until like 5 p.m. I was like, I know you were out celebrating, but thank God you told me. But then I was like, I have to pass on Tuesday. I can't let you down.
Awesome.
All this hard work. And that's the thing, is you put in so much time and effort away from your family and friends and life. And this became my life. I'm embarrassed to even say, but I went to bed every night listening to your voice and just running through the videos. But it's what helped me, the consistency.
That's awesome. And you stuck to it. How long did it take you? Rough.
So your program, I think I was in for about a month and a half.
That's not bad. And I just got off another call, like another lady that passed. She was in for 3 weeks. You're a month and a half. Like, that's the thing that, like, we started as a 7-day accelerator because I had to get people through in 7 days. Now it's like, whatever you want. It's like, I want to know your finish line, and then we'll tell you if it's possible.
Right.
Then, like, as you went through it and David worked with you and you got, you saw other people be successful, did you start to get the feeling that, like, okay, I can do this thing, or like, what was the feeling like for you?
So my goal, I really wanted to take it at the end of April. I wanted to. And then I had a couple offline calls with David and he was just like, do you really feel ready? I'm not feeling very confident. He's like, then push it. Why not? Like, don't stress yourself out, take some more time, go over the material. But I knew I was ready when I was listening to your material and still going through your book. And I just could not cram any more information in my head. And I felt very confident.
That's awesome. And just for, my assumption is when you say cram, you weren't like memorizing stuff. Is that correct?
No, absolutely not. But when you're going through like now it's 14 flows or 14.
Yeah, I've evolved it. Yeah.
I came in halfway through the site update, which looks phenomenal. Good job. I'm just like I'm sick. I'm not sick of listening. But
you've gotten enough. Like you're ready to go. Like,
but when I hopped into the test, and like everyone tells you, those first 15, 20 minutes, you're just trying to get your thoughts together, and I'm flipping through and I'm like, none of this makes sense. None of this looks like anything I practiced.
Yeah. But you pulled it together, and was it just like kind of like a nerves thing, getting like a line, getting going? Did things start to come together? How did it go?
We did. And I think after my first 60, I took it at home. I took a 10-minute break. I wasn't feeling very confident after the first 60, but after I hopped in the next 60, I was flying through them. I knew this. So I answered every question, and then I flagged ones where, I was down to my 50-50. I really wasn't sure, but I had time left to go back and just assure that what I was picking was actually correct.
That is awesome. And so about 50-ish or a little bit more of agile type questions on the exam about?
Yes, I would say so. It was a very hybrid, not a lot of predictive waterfall, quite a bit of like drag and drop.
Yeah.
But everything that's on your program was on the test.
That's awesome. That's good. And so you said this was a youth thing, like the PMP. It wasn't a mandate thing. It was a youth thing. Like, what? Like you might have mentioned it, but why? Like,
I've worked for my company. This December will be 13 years. And I just needed something to stand out, instead of, well, Amy's been here for forever. I just wanted this for me, and I put a sticky note. Coach David said, put a sticky note with your name, PMP. And that sat on my desk. And that was, my motivation plus just my salary. I said, if I get a 15% increase, this is where I'll be. So just watching that was just, motivation. I got to get through this.
Beautiful. That's awesome. And so like, as you think through now, you went through it for yourself, you stuck to the plan, you did it, you like leveraged like the team. And like, you mentioned like the community stuff a lot, or like the family stuff. Like, what does that mean? Like, how, like you're just taking the PMP, dude. Like you did. How is there a family?
In these like normal boot camps, you have the instructor who, like I said, my first one, she was just snippy. And when she like told somebody, she answered a question very nasty. I was just like, this is bad. This is really bad. But as soon as we come into your program, you're set up with a coach and then your team. And although people pop in and out because they're passing the test or just can't show up for personal reasons, you become a little family, my little family every Tuesday night. And, once I hopped on my success call, a gentleman texted me the next day because I gave everyone my information. Just if you have any questions, need anything, let me know. And then we just went back and forth for a few days and he passed Tuesday. So, it's just all full circle. It's incredible.
That's amazing. And so do you look at projects differently now? Do you think you're a little bit more seasoned, a little bit better to be like better at your job going forward?
It's been a week, so I hope so.
Well, I mean, I asked, do you perceive yourself as better? I didn't say if you were.
I do. 100%.
That's awesome. So there's probably people out there that are like you that have gone through the snippy boot camps or whatever, like where they just like I even heard a story where they're muting everybody and you can't ask questions. It's like you're a number, like user 7, user 8, user 9.
Right.
People out there have suffered through that. They invested in themselves and it didn't pay off. For those kind of people that are at that crossroads where they're like, shit, I don't even know how I should do this anymore. Like, what would you say to those people?
Well, I know for me, when I reached out to you, you said, hop on a call, just see what it's like. And in my snippy boot camp, if you're not raising your hand when I ask, I'm not going to count you as present. And it's like, I paid for this. Like, how are you going to tell me? Like, no.
You want to say which boot camp you were in?
No.
Come on, I do. Like, no.
You
All right, well,
offline.
go
I'll
ahead.
tell you
Go ahead. Keep
offline.
going. Yeah.
But in all honesty, it's just the moment you hop on one of these calls, it's a little bit, I mean, it's intimidating. I had a couple people, I'm like, they are just whipping through. They know the explanations. They got it. But that was the goal, is I'm gonna get it too. I got it. I have to.
Yeah, and the cool part, like I made a decision early on because I started out, I was like, I'm gonna put people in tranches and they'll start this and they'll be the same. Then I started to think about it and like listen to the conversations. And then, I had parallel groups with like just people starting, people finishing, people in the middle. And the people that were like mixed up just did better because it like the people that are really like, they're ready to go, like the cake is baked. Like they are in a sense teaching the new people, like, here's how to talk. Here's how to walk through things. Like, so did you see, like, it may be overwhelming, like, holy cow, this person's killing it. But was it instructive for you to hear them kind of like just, cut these questions up?
100%. And when you think you know the answer to something or you're questioning, just to hear someone else explain it in the way that they understand, not like, what the book says or what Scott might say, it's just better for your understanding. And like linking up with that other girl too, just the fact that we were a couple days apart from each other in our test dates. I think we both provide each other a lot of insight and understanding to things that, I mean, she works in an agile environment. I don't. So she was able to, help me on that end.
I had a good idea just then. I don't want to tell everybody because they'll steal it, but whatever. I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Okay. Sounds good.
I got a good idea. And so that's awesome. So what's now? What are you going to do now? Like, you got the PMP, you had good experience, you feel good. Like, what are we doing?
I need a mental break.
Okay.
For a couple of weeks, but I want more certifications. Like, why not? I can do it. I put the time and effort into this, and sky's the limit now.
I can dig it. Well, we got an ACP, the Agile one, coming up soon, so I'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
Well, that's really good. So, okay, final moments, like someone's out there. I already asked you, like, what would you do? Like, what's that one or two things that you think that people are doing wrong? Like, what's the thing that people do wrong in studying for PMP that you like, please don't do this?
So I'm a flashcard person. And when it like gave me anxiety when you were like, no. And I'm like, no, what? This is what got me through college. But if you don't understand the process, you don't understand the process.
Very true.
And, I think the evaporating data dump was a lifesaver too, because why are you going to continue to study things you already know?
Yeah.
If you already got it. So, I had one that was a couple pages going through, and towards the end, it was, just everything crossed off.
That's awesome. And talk us through, like, people might not know what evaporating data dump is. I made the concept up. Like, I did it, like, whatever. What is the evaporating data dump?
So the evaporating data dump, when you go through testing or you're studying material, things that you don't need, or don't remember or don't get correct, you write it down. And that's what you study off of going forward. And once you got it, cross it off.
Yeah, it feels good to cross stuff off. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Well, that is awesome. All right, so we know what to not do. Like, don't memorize. Really try to understand. Is that like the key thing, that if you like one thing to get away to people to say, like, this is the thing that makes the difference? Is it, understand, like, community? Like, what is that one like pinnacle thing that is super duper double important that you think in your mind?
It was you as a whole. Like, you brought it, your package, you served it up nice on a platter, because everything else prior 2016, it didn't work for me. It didn't click. March this year did not click at all. It was terrible. But you broke things down to make them understand in a way that I knew I could succeed in your program.
That's nice. You made me cry. It's not the first time. Yeah, it means a lot.
It's what you break down, and it's your community, because I could not have done it without David or Sandy. There's just no way. No way at all.
You weren't even in. Were you in? I don't even know. Like, I have tons of students. Were you in my calls or were you in Sandy's calls?
I was in Sandy's calls.
Oh, you're in Sandy's calls. So that's good.
Yeah.
This is nice. Like, I just get to show up at the end and cry. So this is good. Like, this is easy. And so that's good. Well, why don't we do this? Let's find out what the next certification that you want to do. And, if we can, we'll help you through it. So
perfect.
Simple as that. All right. Well, we're proud of you. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.